What I understand now that I didn't understand then is that this isn't easy to explain, so bear with me. That there are various stages of learning and practicing that we can equate with stages of our refinement of our consciousness. It's like a path of conscious evolution. And that most of the teachings were taking place at the level that the world is at, which is the third level, which is a level of learning everything precisely, the correct way to do a ritual. Everybody does it the same way, or there's a thing called a despacho, which is a nature offering, and it can be very elaborate with lots of items put in it. And you learn the meaning of all of the items and the way to arrange it and offer it. It's very formulaic. There's nothing wrong with that. We need to learn that. We can't skip a step. But with Juan, he was teaching from what he calls now the fourth level. And I didn't get that for decades. I really didn't get that till about 7 or 8 years ago, because I just wasn't ready for that level of consciousness or that level of practice. But what the fourth level is it takes us from a practice that is more rote and formulaic and standard, which is the way we have to learn, the way things have been done all the time. And it takes it from a place of routine to a place of personal artistry. And in the Andes, that's very important because it's almost a natural law of the cosmovision of the Andes. And I need to say, when I'm talking about the Andes, I'm talking about the mountain tradition, not talking about the Amazonian tradition or the North Coast tradition. They have different cosmovisions, different understanding, and a different way of working with energy. So I'm talking about the mountain tradition. In the practice, in that cosmovision, and really throughout the others as well, there's a concept called Ayni. And Ayni means reciprocity. And it's the way we make exchanges with the universe, with other people, all kinds of things like that. Okay, it's reciprocity. And at the third level, we learn the mechanics of reciprocity. And at the fourth level, we really start learning the artistry of it. And it becomes incredibly individual. Your Ayni is not my Ayni because we're different people with different life experiences and beliefs. So nothing can be rote or formulaic, really. And Juan was teaching me in that way, but I didn't get it for a long, long time, And it wasn't, like I say, until around 2015. So, I started working with him in 1995. So 20 years later, that I really started to be able to understand the approach of the fourth level to the Andean tradition or any other tradition, and to live it. So that doesn't really answer your question about what drew me to Peru, but I think it answers the questions of what has kept me committed to this path for nearly 30 years. A core principle of this tradition is the understanding of your Inca seed, your Inca Muyu, which is Quechua for your Inca seed. And your Inca seed is an energetic structure that's in your body, in the middle of your body. And it's your connection to your origin, which is whatever the unknowable is, whatever comes before the material life, to your spirit. There's a difference between the spirit and the soul in the Andes. The spirit is your drop of God. Your soul is your humanness, what makes Jason, Jason, and Joan, Joan. And approaching the tradition from the fourth level is all about learning to access what's already inside you, which is your Inca seed. And it's a tiny little energetic structure but it's a huge information field. And it's both universal and personal. It's universal in that it encodes within us everything possible for the expression of our humanness. Every possible expression of our humanness. It's held in potential within us. But it's very personal because the constellation, the way those characteristics and possibilities and capacities are constellated within us, it's different for each one of us. So we share the universality of being human, but your expression of your humanness is totally different than my expression of my humanness. And so the power of this path, excuse me for one sec, the power of this path is to access and live from your Inca seed. And it's really a fourth level approach because it's about the artistry of your artistry in expressing your humanity. I know that sounds very abstract, but I can give you some specific examples if you want, because this is a very practical tradition. That's the other thing that drew me to it. There's not a lot of dogma. There's not a stable of hundreds of gods and goddesses. There's next to no ritual or ceremony. It's very practical and efficient. It's about learning to perceive, tune, and move energy. And it starts with learning to perceive your own energetic state and move and tune yourself. So when I talk about the Inca seed and the practicality of the tradition, the Inca seed is like our inner compass. Because your Inca seed is a constellation of the human capacities that are different than mine, your compass has got a different true north than mine. Okay? But if we are in touch with our Inca seed, with the core of our spirit and our beingness, that will always be pointed to the true north of what's true for us, for each one of us individually, to be able to express ourselves, our drop of the mystery, which is unique. It's different than everybody else's. We'll be able to express it if we pay attention to our Inca seed, which always tells us the truth and always points us in the right direction. And how do we do that? Very simple. Energetically, you listen to your body. Your body's the truth meter. And when you feel an inner dissonance, you're probably not listening to your inner truth. But when you feel an inner resonance, you probably are. And this becomes very practical. We can use it in every aspect of our lives.